Okay, yay, we made it. All right, so we are going to start off sitting on our chair. I want you to have with you your Pilates ball. And again, you might notice that my Pilates ball is not fully inflated, so you don't want it fully inflated. You're going to have your yoga tune-up balls or whatever you're using, like yoga tune-up balls. Um, Go ahead and grab the ones inside their tote, lock it down. We are going to use a single one as well eventually, but go ahead and have the yoga tune-up balls in the tote, your Pilates ball. We're sitting on your Pilates ball to start. So go ahead and have a seat. So we're going to ground through our feet. So make sure that your feet are able to be rooted into the floor. So what you don't want is to have your legs be dangling. If that's the case, some people need to put blocks under their feet. So you can have a nice tall spine. You don't want to be like dangling feet out here. So go ahead and reach through the crown of your head, get taller through the crown of your head, roll your shoulders up and down and around, drop your shoulder blades together, wide through your collarbones, and go ahead and close your eyes. So we're going to start with some breath here. So deep breath in through the nose. And a long exhale, either through the nose or through pursed lips, like you're breathing out of a straw. So it's a controlled breath. Exhale slowly. And all the while keeping your long, tall spine. So even on the exhale, you don't want to shrink. So we keep the spine long on our breath so we can get more breath into more areas. So we're going to breathe as deeply as possible. Sometimes it's nice to put your hands on your lower belly to give yourself a guide. Where am I sending the breath? We want to send it as deep as we can. So keep with that breath, deep inhale and long exhales. So the ball is underneath us because it is affecting our pelvic floor. So even just sitting here, not even thinking about it, it is happening. So you don't need to worry about it. But you can think about sending the breath all the way down to where you feel the ball underneath you. Big breath in, a long, slow breath out. Our pelvic floor very connected to a lot of things, actually. So if you have issues with your pelvic floor, it actually affects your jaw, which can affect your neck tension potentially, or face tension. So there is a direct connection through your fascial system between your pelvic floor and your jaw. So if you have tension in your jaw, it might be affecting the pelvic floor and vice versa. So just working on that pelvic floor without even thinking about it as we're sitting on this ball. Continue with your breath. One more big breath in and a long exhale. Good. Then bringing the hands to the shoulders. We're going to do some rolling of those shoulders. Doesn't matter which way, you're going to go both ways. So pick a direction. Slow, intentional movements, continuing with your breath while you're moving. And let's switch directions. One more time. Good. And then bringing your hands to the back of your head. We're going to be doing what feels like a cat cow to me with the body. So we round the spine, tuck the chin, elbows move towards each other, moving through that middle back. The ball might even move a little bit underneath you. And then opening, extending, thinking of chest to ceiling. You can lift your chin a bit, but be careful you're not dumping into that neck. No pinching. And rounding and tucking, exhale, 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 tuck the belly in. And then as you expand and open, you inhale. And continue like that. Exhale, tuck, we round, elbows move towards each other. And then open up, big, wide open chest. Let's do that one more time. We tuck and round. And then we lift and we lengthen open the chest. Nice. And relax those arms down. So we'll shrug the shoulders up and around. And we did this once in the beginning, but we're going to do it a few times now, squeezing up and around, up and around. Doesn't matter which way, we're going to go both directions. And then let's go the other way. So up and around the other way, just getting some movement. Sometimes when we get stuck in the shoulders or even in the shoulder blades, it can cause neck tension. Let's do that one more time. Good. And then really pulling those shoulders back so those collarbones are wide. We're going to be taking the right ear to the right shoulder. You could grab the side of the bench or your chair, excuse me, if you'd like. Not required. The other options just go palm open and reaching down. But we want to make sure that the shoulder doesn't come with us as we take the ear over. Right hand can come to the side of the head gently. You're not getting aggressive with this. Maybe it's just the weight of the hand. Be careful this shoulder on the right side doesn't shrug up too much. So again, you can either hold the side of your chair or at least reach towards the ground so that we're keeping that shoulder down. And it's a gentle stretch. We're not getting super aggressive here. Maybe just the weight of the hand here. Big breath in, long breath out. And then if you have the hand on the side of the head, go ahead and release it. Again, reaching this hand down or holding the chair. Ear is still over here towards my shoulder. I'm relaxing this arm now. And I'm just going to nod my head. While the ear is towards the shoulder, I'm nodding my head. Now, if you feel a pinch on the right, start over. Think of lifting up and over versus just dumping over. So length and then over. And keeping the shoulder down. So the chin moves towards the chest, ear still towards the shoulder. And then I come up and even past that side, and my chin ends up more towards the ceiling. So just nodding very slowly. And again, checking in. You want to make sure you're not getting so aggressive, you're causing any type of anxiety. This practice is all about softening, letting go, coming into our parasympathetic nervous system, our recovery system. So we want to make sure we're not going too aggressive. And we'll let that go. We're going to switch sides. So holding the chair or just reaching down so the shoulder stays down, your choice, ear to shoulder. We'll just stay there at first. And the hand could come to the side of the head. If that's too much, you don't do that. And then once again, if you feel a pinch on this left side, just start over. Think of lifting up and over. Sometimes we just get like, we just drop it over and it pinches. So we want to really think of lengthening. So we're getting the side of the neck now on the right and not too aggressive with that hand, just a light, maybe just no hand. Maybe it's just the weight of the hand, not pulling at all. Keep breathing, deep breaths in and out. And releasing the hand from the head if it's there. And then we nod that head. So again, checking in that we're not pinching on the left. It's a lengthening through all the tissue on the right side. Slow, intentional movements. Again, holding the chair or reaching down so the shoulder doesn't come up. Check in with your breath. Okay, good. All right, so you're going to stand on up, remove the ball, and then you're going to find your yoga tune-up balls inside their tote, and we're going to sit on those. So find a place that's comfortable-ish. I know it's kind of weird. There's a hard ball on your bottom. So find a place, and it's this way, not this way. So, like one ball is on each sit bone. Okay, just to clarify that one. Okay, and you'll find a place that's okay. We're not going to be here as long as we were on that other ball. But of course, this is going to be more intense. We're getting into the tissue right next to those sit bones. That's important tissue to deal with. So we don't get to that very often. So here we are sitting on the balls, not doing anything except letting gravity do the work for us. So come back to some breath. Inhales and exhales. And then while we're here, we're going to be doing a little bit of a release on our finger, actually our hand. So go ahead and take your right hand and you're going to be pulling just the middle finger back. So however you want to place your arm, I like to kind of put it against my body. So I'm not holding it out here. I'm putting it against my body. It's going to be a stretch right through here. So this particular stretch affects one of our meridian lines that's connected with, stress. So it can help us release stress. Okay. So sometimes if we're having a hard time sleeping, we can stretch or massage this line and it will be helpful. So just pulling that finger down. This is the basic version of this particular release. If it's not much to you, you can increase the intensity by bringing your first finger towards your hand. You could hold it with the thumb. That's the next level, and then pulling this finger down. And then the next level, which is the most intense, and it actually is too intense for me, is to not hold it with the thumb. You just bring the first finger to the hand, and then you start to gently pull on that middle finger again. That's too much for me. So mine is the middle of those intensity. I'm going to hold this finger and then stretch that middle finger back. And I'm just going to relax my elbow on my side. Maybe I'll close my eyes again. Deep inhales and exhales. And of course, all the while underneath us, there's some work happening. We're not even doing anything, and it's happening all by itself just because we are breathing and letting gravity do the release for us. Deep inhales and exhales. One more big breath in and out. And then we're going to release that, but I'm going to have you just massage along that, right where you felt that stretch, right even down into the wrist. You can use your other hand to massage the wrist into the hand, all the way up, maybe even the whole middle finger. So just inspiring our body to come into a parasympathetic state, a relaxed state by working into this meridian line. And we're going to do the other side. So we can start with just how does it feel to just pull that middle finger back? Maybe start with that and see what you think. The next level is to bring the first finger to the hand and then holding it with the thumb. So it looks like that. And then stretching that middle finger back. And then the next level, again, it's too much for me because apparently I've got too much stress in my life. I've got the first finger just holding there. And then without holding it with the thumb, we pull this back. That one's too much for me. So I'm not going to do it. It's too intense. It's more than a 7 for me in terms of intensity. So I don't want to go there right now. Maybe tomorrow it will be different. Today, that's where I am. So here we go. That's where I'm staying. So maybe you close your eyes if you choose. It's up to you. Imagine that softening, lengthening, letting go, deep inhales and exhales. Couple more big breaths. And we'll let that go, but then we'll just massage that a little bit right down to that wrist where you felt that, maybe all the way through the hand and even into that middle finger. Just giving a little massage, a little release with your other hand. Good. All right. Okay, so just relaxing your hands on your thighs. We're going to take 3 more big breaths. Maybe holding the breath at the top if that's comfortable for you. And then slowly exhaling. Couple more big ones like that. And let it go. Okay. So you're going to come on up off of those balls. Now, if you have a second pair, you're just going to go ahead and grab a single. Otherwise, go ahead and take one of those balls out of your tote. We're going to be releasing the hamstring with a single ball. So I'm a big fan of turning sideways on my seat so I have more space to move. And I'm going to be doing the outside leg. So that's my right leg. Maybe you do the same. So I'm turned to the left. My outside leg, the front leg is my right leg. And you're going to be placing the ball right where your glute and hamstring connect. And then you're going to put some pressure on there. So once you get that situated, kind of do a little check in. Are you feeling it? Okay. If you're not, you might need to move the ball a little left or right. And then you can put a little pressure on there if you need more. If you need less, you can kind of lean away from it. But once you have the amount of pressure you want, you're going to start straightening and bending this leg. So straightening and bending right where that glute and hamstring connect is where the ball is right now. And again, if you're not feeling it, try moving it a little left or right. And usually you're going to find something in there. Straighten and bend. If you need more, you lean towards it. If you need less, you lean away from it. So this is a very effective way to release the hamstrings. Hamstrings are notorious for many of us, chronically tight. And they stay that way for a lot of reasons. It's usually posture related or sitting in a chair related. And it's really our body trying to protect itself. Those chronically tight hamstrings, they are trying to protect us. It's a response that our body has when it thinks it's going to fall forward. And if we don't have perfect posture, of course, our body thinks it's falling forward. So it tightens up to try to get us upright. And so they're just chronically tight. And stretching alone is not going to release them. So combination of this rolling, this myofascial release, and the stretching is very effective. So the combo is great. If you don't have time to do both, I recommend just doing the myofascial release. All right, so you're going to be internally and externally rotating the foot now. So you notice I've got the knee bent and I'm sweeping it right to left. I'm sweeping it right to left. And then I'm going to move the whole leg. So it can be bent, it can be straight. And I'm just going to move it back and forth so the ball moves side to side. And then we're going to move that ball more towards the middle of that hamstring. Again, leaning towards it. You'll probably feel a little more. Leaning away, you're going to feel a little less. And you're going to straighten and bend that leg. Straighten and bend that leg, putting the right amount of pressure on there for you. And if you're not feeling it, again, maybe you move it a little right or a little left. Usually moving it to the right for me on my right leg is where I need it, closer to my IT band. So maybe that's true for you as well. Or maybe the opposite is true. Maybe you need it closer to the adductor, the inner thigh. And then we keep the knee bent and we do that internal and external rotation again, sweeping the leg back and forth with the knee bent. And then we can let that whole leg sweep back and forth. Good. All right, let's see if we can move it down one more little bit. And then, if your chair seat is not big enough for that, maybe you just go back to another location on your leg, but as close to your knee as you can get based on your chair and your leg length. Straighten and bend that leg, straighten and bend that leg. And be careful you don't start scrunching up in those shoulders and, getting tight again in there where we just released. So relax the shoulders, even though you might be leaning on your thighs. Don't get all bunched up in your neck and shoulder. And then let's try some of that internal, external rotation again, sweeping that foot back and forth with the knee bent. And then we can sweep that whole leg to the best of our ability, again, based on the chair. We don't want the ball to fall off the chair. Okay, go ahead and set the ball down for now and plant that left foot on the ground, and the right ankle will cross over the left thigh. So we've got a figure 4 shape here. And then we'll start to bring our body forward to whatever degree we can bring it forward without slouching or really rounding that lower back and upper back. We want to keep a long spine. And then we'll lift back up. And then we bring it forward. So we're doing a movement in and out of the stretch. We will eventually hold the stretch again, but we're going to move in and out of it for right now. We lift and then we bring it forward to whatever degree we can. Maybe it's 1 inch. Maybe you're pancaked flat all the way on your leg. I don't know. It doesn't matter as long as you're feeling your outer hip, outer glute, maybe even this outer thigh a little bit. Some people feel their inner thigh. As long as you're feeling something in the leg and the hip, you're good. Not in the knee. We don't want the knee to be yelling at us. And really not very much in the lower back either. Very little, if at all. One more time. Good. And then we're going to be bringing the knee towards the chest, rotating to the right. So I could, if I have a back of the chair, I could grab the chair and use that to help me, or I could just hug the knee and rotate. And then we bring it back to this forward fold. And then we grab the knee, pull it in, and rotate. Now you'll notice I'm actually losing some length in my spine as I rotate. That's how we can safely and effectively rotate our spine and then bring it forward. So what we don't want is to sit up and lengthen through the spine and try to rotate, you actually will not be able to rotate much. And you could even hurt yourself if you really got aggressive about trying to rotate while you're really trying to get tall through your spine. So let your length of your spine as you exhale shrink a little, almost like you're hugging that knee as you rotate. Well, you are. And then bring it forward again. Let's do that a couple more times. So we bring the knee in, hug it in, and then let your upper back round a little. We'll get more movement through the middle back, which is where we want it. And then we bring it forward. And then we'll lift it back up one more time. And again, tuck the tummy in. You can even tuck your chin down, rotate. Let's stay here this time for a few breaths. Again, you could either hug it with both hands and both arms. Maybe you've got a back of a chair that you want to hold on to help. Exhale, maybe you move a little deeper. Inhale, exhale. 2 more big breaths. And then we'll bring it forward over our thighs. And this time we'll stay. So whatever degree we can stay forward without rounding out the upper back. So that will look different for everybody. So as you come forward here, if you can easily catch your foot, you can make some circles with your ankle. If you're really struggling to get to your foot, maybe you just do it without using your hand. Okay, so some people are, I can't reach my foot. So please don't struggle to get to the foot. If you can't reach it with your hand to help, then you just do it by itself. You just actively move it like that. But if you have the ability, you can start moving it with your hand a couple times, each direction. Good. And if you're able to reach the foot, go ahead and take your fingers on your right hand and pull your big toe back, stretching the big toe back towards the top of the foot. If we lose mobility in our ankles and our toes and our feet, it affects our whole system all the way up. So believe it or not, your ankle mobility can make, or lack thereof, and your foot mobility or lack thereof can affect your knees, your back, even your neck. Works all the way up the whole system. So losing big toe mobility, also a really big reason why people get plantar fasciitis. One more big breath. And we'll come all the way up and out of that. Good. All right, so we're going to do all of that on our second side. Go ahead and grab your ball. I'm going to rotate the other way. That's how I like to do it. So I have enough space to move. The ball is right where that glute and hamstring connect. You put the pressure on there that feels appropriate for you, and then straighten and bend, straighten and bend. Good. Checking in, how does it feel? If you need more, you put more pressure on. If you need less, you lean a bit away. So all of this work, all of this myofascial work and mobility work is all to create an environment so our body can heal itself. You go get a massage, you go get a chiropractic adjustment, you go get acupressure, acupuncture. None of that is, quote, healing you. Your body heals you. Okay? It has infinite capacity to heal you. All of those things, those modalities, including what we're doing today, just sets you up for healing. So your body does it. Okay? I'm not doing it. This ball isn't doing it. Your own body, it wants to heal. It doesn't want to stay in pain. It doesn't want to stay out of alignment. Let's go ahead and bend the knee and we do that little windshield wiper of that foot, internal, external rotation. So we're just setting you up for success, giving your body a fighting chance to heal itself. It wants to heal. So that's what you're doing here, if you are wondering. And then let's sweep that leg back and forth. And the more we move the energy that might be stuck in any part of our body, and it could be our finger, you saw that, that was kind of tight for me. Maybe it was for you too. Could be the leg, could be the neck, could be the shoulder. It doesn't matter. Wherever that tension is, your body wants to heal. You just need to set it up for success. We're hydrating the tissue. Let's go ahead and move that ball to the middle of that hamstring. So we're hydrating the tissue so that it can function better, setting ourselves up into postural alignment so energy can flow the way that it needs to heal and to have the kind of energy we need and want for our everyday life. And let's windshield wiper. Internally, externally rotating. That foot sweeps back and forth. And then we'll sweep that whole leg. And then if you have the space to move it down one more little bit closer to your knee, go ahead and do that. And then once again, straighten and bend, straighten and bend. Keep breathing, keep checking in, and then we'll sweep that side to side. Internal, external rotation, and then we start to move the whole leg if we have the space to do it. All right, let's set that ball down. And we're going to take that left ankle over the right thigh, setting yourself up into this figure 4 shape. And then we'll bring ourselves forward to whatever degree we can, and then lift up. We'll just do this a few times. Take it forward. We lift it up. Take it forward. We lift it up. Do that a couple more times, and then we'll add in the rotation. One more time, we bring it forward. All right, so bringing the knee in, grab it and rotate. And then we bring it back to our figure 4. Just back and forth at your own pace. So you can go faster or slower than I'm going, whatever feels appropriate for you this morning. And remember, when you rotate, you can go ahead and let yourself lose some length. In fact, you should. That will allow you to move through your middle back, which is where you should be taking your rotation from. Your middle back is, believe it or not, the part that's supposed to be mobile. Your lower back is actually supposed to be stable. All right, the next time you do that rotation, we're going to stay. So take a breath in once you get there, and you exhale and lose a little length. Pull the tummy in, maybe even tuck your chin. Can take the hold of the back of the chair if you have one, or just give both arms around that leg, give it a hug. Every time you exhale, maybe you're able to move a little bit deeper. Couple more big breaths. All right. And then we'll take it forward and we'll stay. So I mentioned that the middle back is where you should be moving from in that rotation. And I'll just repeat it again because it is important when we do spinal twisting, it should be through the middle back. The only way to access that is to actually shrink in your spine a little bit, not think of that length. Most of the time, I'm telling you to think of length, but that's one circumstance where it's important to actually almost tuck and round a bit to get into that. And most of us, if we sit in a chair a lot, have lost mobility in the middle back. When we lose that mobility, it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when you're going to start having shoulder and neck pain. So that middle back, when you can't use it to rotate or move or reach or whatever it is that you're trying to do in your life, if you can't move through that because it's stuck, then the shoulder has to take over. And the shoulder isn't supposed to be the mobile one. Your shoulder blade, yes, but the shoulder itself is supposed to be a stable joint. And you start to get mobility into that shoulder, and then you pinch it, and then you pull it, and then you feel pain. And then the neck starts to be painful. It just becomes this cycle. So we get movement into that middle back again, and you'll have less pain in your neck and shoulders. So let's make some circles with the ankle, either by taking a hold of the foot or just doing it on your own without holding the foot. A few times each direction. And then if you're able to reach your foot, go ahead and take that big toe and pull it back. Okay. If you're not able to reach it, maybe you just skip this one for now. But if you are, go ahead and give this a try. Keeping mobility in that big toe is important. Let's take 3 more big breaths. Okay. And we'll lift up and out of that. All right. So go ahead and step your feet wide. You'll come pretty forward on the chair, but make sure you're still firmly planted. You're going to bring your hands to the floor. If you can't reach the floor, you may need to put blocks down here. But hands to the floor if possible, or again, maybe your hands are on top of blocks, and then just let your body drop straight through. So a couple things might be happening here for you. You might feel your inner thighs. You might feel your lower back a little bit. And we're doing technically an inversion. So our head is lower than our heart here. And anytime we do an inversion, we're actually shifting the energy. Sometimes when we get up from an inversion and being upside down, we're a little dizzy. That's normal. That's just a change and shift of the energy flow. So when we come up, eventually, you'll want to be careful and not get up right away. Take it slow when we get up. We're still here though, so keep breathing. All right, very slowly finding your way up. And again, if you feel a little dizzy, just give yourself a moment. Take a couple of big breaths. All right. So the next thing we're going to do and the last thing we're going to do sitting, you may decide you want to block for this one. If you need, I'll show you what you're doing and then I'll show you how you could use a block. I'm going to take a hold of my calf or my ankle. Okay, if that's not easy for you, maybe your hand comes to a block. So we're going to be bringing the left hand to the left ankle or again a block, and then I'll show you and then I'll grab the block. And then my right hand comes to meet my left hand. And then it's like a bow and arrow. I'm sliding up my arm like a bow and arrow here. My elbow goes up, and then I'm going to reach my hand up. I'm moving from my middle back. And then I'm going to reverse that hand to shoulder, slide across my chest and reach towards that hand. Now, if I had a block, it would look, maybe it's waving up here. Maybe I need the block to be here. And I'd go hand to hand, sliding up across my body and then opening up to whatever degree I can open. It's either towards the ceiling or maybe even behind me. Hand to shoulder, cross my body, rotate towards the ground. I'm rounding, and then I'm opening up and reaching. And exhale, coming back down towards the ground. And then sliding up and reaching. Inhale, open up. One more time like that. Sliding it up and reaching up, open. Okay. And then we're going to do that on our second side. You're either using a block or not. Maybe you can even reach the ground or your foot or ankle. Left hand meets right hand. I'm going to slide across my body like a bow and arrow. And then I extend that top left arm and open up to whatever degree I can. And then I reverse it, sliding down, round towards that right hand, and then slide myself open and reach. And again, we slide it down. And we slide ourselves open. Let's do that 2 more times. And 1 more time. Okay. And very carefully, we make our way up. And we're done with the chair, at least sitting on it for now. So if you have a back on your chair, you can use the back of the chair. If you don't, you'll probably want to use a wall. So we'll go ahead and demonstrate both for you. Here we go. So if you've got a back of a chair, you can use the back of the chair and start to walk yourself back like this. So I'm stretching my arms, my armpit area, and I'm kind of letting my body just fall through. If you don't have a back on your chair, you could do this at a wall like this. So you find the situation that works for you. Right now, I have both knees a little bit bent. My focus right now is through here, through my armpits, to the sides of my shoulders. And I might need to take my hands wider or narrower depending on what I'm experiencing. And then you're going to start to alternate bending one knee. So one knee bends and the other one is as straight as you can get it. And then you switch. And then you switch. And we switch. So one knee bends, one is straight, hamstrings, armpit area. Again, this can be at the wall too. Same thing, just at the wall. You decide. Also affecting the sacrum as we shift those hips back and forth. So if your sacrum tends to be a little stuck, this will be helpful. A couple more times. Okay, good. All right, so you can set the chair off to the side. We are going to come back to it in just a bit, but for now, we're going to find a wall space, and you're going to be using a single yoga tune-up ball at the wall. So we're going to be taking that ball to the back side of the armpit. So it's your teres minor if you're familiar with anatomy. So find your armpit, slide it to the back, and then we'll pin that against the wall. So it looks like I'm just kind of hanging out here, which I kind of am, but I want to pin that well enough that I don't lose it as I start to move around. So I'm making some circles. I could go up and down, side to side. Just pin that in there really well. You'll find the amount of pressure that's appropriate for you. And again, it's right here. So find your armpit and then slide it to the back side of that armpit area. Circles, up, down, side, side. And then you can start to move your arm also. So palm up, palm down, palm can face the wall. You could make circles with your arm. And again, you control the pressure. If I've got my feet really out here, I'm really leaning in, I can do a lot of pressure. If I'm closer to the wall, it's less pressure. So you control the experience, you control what's happening. It's really tempting to get super aggressive. I warn you, don't go too crazy. You can actually cause more inflammation and irritation if you really get in there too deep. So nothing more intense than a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. Nothing that makes you want to hold your breath or grit your teeth or anything that's causing you anxiety. All right, so then we're going to move this ball to another location. So upper trapezius. So right here, not on my neck, not on my shoulder, but on the upper trapezius. Biggest thing you need to make sure you don't do is catch your hair. For me, that tends to happen. So get your hair out of the way. And then you can move side to side. That's one option. You could pin that ball and move the arm. It's called pinning and stretching when we do that. You could just absolutely just stay here and be still and breathe. Okay. So again, I control the pressure here. If I want more, I can move a little farther away from the wall. If I want less, I can move a little closer to the wall. Move the arm, move the body. You could even move up and down a little bit. So you do what feels like it's the right amount of pressure and the right movements or non-movements, whatever feels best for you. Okay, so set the ball down. And then we're going to be doing a chest stretch. So I'm recommending elbow bent. And so you'll place the arm at about 90 degrees. If this doesn't work for you, you find whatever variation does work for you. So maybe that's a straighter arm. Maybe partway through you switch to a straight arm. I'll make that recommendation, but try a bent elbow first. and then you start to turn away. So where we want to feel this is through this chest and shoulder area. So most people have neck tension for one of a few reasons. Number one, if you have posture that brings you forward like this, the neck has to do weird things to be able to keep upright, look in front of you so you can see where you're going when you're walking. So the neck is always doing something weird to compensate for rounded shoulders. Also, when your shoulders are rounded, we're still holding this stretch, by the way, your chin tends to come forward, your head tends to sit forward, which means all these poor muscles on the back of the neck are constantly trying to pull back so you're in postural alignment. Same reason the hamstrings tend to stay tight. Poor things are trying to keep your head on top of your body. So they're always pulling, and that is the biggest reason most people have neck tension. And I mentioned the other one earlier. If your pelvic floor is too tight, oftentimes then the jaw ends up locking up, which can cause tension, usually in the front of the neck. So those are a couple of the reasons we tend to get neck tension or chronic neck pain. Yes, we can sleep wrong, we can whip our head and cause an actual injury, but if you have chronic tension in the neck, it's probably one of the two reasons I mentioned. All right, so we're still holding here. Option to switch it a little, like maybe a straighter arm. And then close your eyes. We're going to do a little tapping with the opposite fingers on the collarbone. You can do both sides of the collarbone or wherever you can reach is fine. This is using the emotional freedom tapping technique. This is also a trigger point. It's also an acupressure point where we can really tap into releasing pain. And that's usually physical pain that I'm referring to with the tapping of the collarbone. So maybe you imagine where you're having the pain and just honor that it's true, it's real, it's there, but your body does have endless capacity to heal. So if you invite in the healing, if you open yourself up to healing, you will heal. And keep tapping that collarbone and repeat in your mind the statement that makes most sense to you. Like, my body is fully capable of healing. My body is set up for healing. My body is healing. My body is healed. Couple more big breaths. Still holding the stretch, still tapping. And then we'll release. Okay. So you're going to find the yoga tune-up ball, and we're going to slide to the back side of that shoulder. Well, not the shoulder. Find your armpit, and it's not quite the shoulder. Not quite the shoulder. It's on the back, under the shoulder. And then we pin that in there, and you do whatever movements make sense for you. You can move your body. You can move your arm. You could not move at all. You control the amount of pressure. You can watch me and just copy me, or you can just tune in. Truth is, you're your own teacher. You know what you need. So maybe you find something else very different than what I'm doing. I oftentimes do a little combo of moving the arm and then moving my body. And then sometimes I then just find stillness and pin that ball and breathe. If these lats and the teres minor right in here where we connect to that armpit, if they're locked up, it does make it very difficult to move the arms in a full range of motion. So it can really cause your shoulders to be sticky and make it difficult to reach up over your head or forward out in front of you or behind your back. All right, so let's find the upper trapezius on the left side. So right here, not the shoulder, not the neck, but in between those 2 points. Pull that hair out of the way. So it's on the left side. And then again, you can go side to side, up and down, move the arm. Any combination of those things. Take 3 more big breaths. You can move, you can be still. Okay, good. So we're going to take our stretch, starting with the bent elbow, if that's working for you, and then rotating to the right. So we're stretching the chest and shoulder. And then we're going to take our right hand and start tapping the collarbone. I'm going to close my eyes. Maybe you join me. And this point, again, this tapping point, this emotional freedom tapping technique point is really associated with physical pain. There's other points that are associated with other types of pain, but this particular one, physical pain. And so if you tap this point and you repeat in your mind your belief that you have the capacity to heal, your belief that your body is taking care of you, your belief that we are so grateful that we have a body that can heal, repeating over and over the statement in your mind. So, yeah, even though you might have some pain right now, you will be healed. Even though you might have an issue in your body right now, you are okay and you will be healed. If possible, taking that arm to a little bit straighter behind you and tapping, continuing to tap, repeating your statement in your mind. Deep inhales and exhales. Three more breaths. Okay. All right. So we're going to come to our mat finally, and this will be the end of our practice. Finally down to our mat. So we're going to be using a block, and then your yoga tune-up balls will be back inside their tote. Now you see why I like to have 2 pairs, so I can just easily switch back and forth. But go ahead and move your balls back into their tote if you have the 1 pair. We're going to be placing our neck on the balls that are on top of the block. So that'll be the setup right like that. I'm going to turn to the side here now and go ahead and lay down. And the balls go on the neck. Whatever feels comfortable for your legs, they could extend, they could stay bent, you could bring the soles of your feet together, whatever feels really good in your lower body, that's what you do. For me, I'm going to keep my knees bent. In fact, I'm going to step them wide and bring my knees towards each other. That's what feels good for me. You choose what feels good for you. Now, once you have those balls situated on your neck, start to turn your head right to left, like no. With your head, it goes right to left. And then try nodding your head like yes, chin to chest. And then you extend, chin to chest, and extend. And then turning your head to the right, like no. And then while it is over to the right, you'll nod your head like yes. And then try turning your head to the left and then nodding your head like yes. And you can repeat any of that, or maybe you find stillness. We'll take 5 breaths. And after your 5th breath, you'll decide if you want to keep the balls underneath you for your final rest. If you're efforting in any way or there's any discomfort, go ahead and just remove the balls. And then whatever you've chosen for your Shavasana, your final rest, you'll take a big breath in, hold that breath for 3, 2, 1, and open your mouth and let it go. So this is where I will leave you. You take your time in your final rest. It's a gift. If you can, stay for at least 5 minutes. Thank you for joining me, my friends. Namaste.